Hello, welcome back to video tutorial number 6 in Photopea landscapes. In video 5, I showed you how to use the Lasso tool to create the shape of a mountain and fill it with a gradient. I also showed you how to use Alt Move again to duplicate one mountain to make a stack of mountains, layered to create depth. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to use the Polygonal Lasso tool, the Paintbrush, and how to adjust opacity levels. What I'm going to do is create a land mass with small trees and then mist or fog going over the land. So let's get started. For this landmass, it needs to overlap the mountains. So that layer would need to be directly on top of my last mountain layer. So mountain copy 14 is where I would be when I click my new layer. And this is going to be called land. So for this, I'm actually going to use the same lasso tool I used before. The Polygonal Lasso tool will be used to make my tree. So select Lasso, and I'm going to start off the page here, and I'm just going to draw to slightly overlap the mountains. I'm going to go off the page. And I don't want my edge of land to be perfectly straight. And I'm creating a closed shape. From there, I'm going to fill it with a dark green to brown, I think. Let me see. Let's go to my gradient. Click your first slider and go to your color picker. I don't want it to be too bright. So actually, I'm gonna make it kind of sandy colored and then going to green. Let's try that. It's down here, that color for my first color. And then green, like a moss green. Okay, so that's my gradient. Click OK. I'm going to go with that for now. And I need to hit Control D to deselect it, but as I'm looking at it, I don't want my landmass to be that fat. I want to make it skinnier. So to do that, I need to transform the size. So while I'm still on my land layer, I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, Scale, and I'm going to shrink it up to make it more narrow. Yeah, like that. Enter. Now, what I want is for the appearance of tiny, tiny trees, a row of trees before you get to the mountains. So what I'm going to do first is create a tree that's bigger. I'm going to shrink it in size and then I'm going to duplicate it. So let's get started. I'm going to try to make this as simplified as possible. While I'm on the land layer, I'm going to click New Layer because the tree needs to overlap the land. Title it Tree. Now I'm switching to my Polygonal Lasso tool. This one allows me a little bit more control. I'm going to make a giant tree, mind you, and then it's going to get smaller. So what you do is you click, and with the Polygonal Lasso tool, you can really only make angled and straight lines. You can't make curves. So I'm going to make the basics of a tree, and then I'm going to use the smudge tool to create smaller branches. So I'm clicking and moving the mouse, clicking and moving the mouse. And I'm coming down to complete the trunk and make a closed shape. So there I've got my selected area, my little running ants. This I'm going to fill with 2 types of brown. So I'm going to the gradient, select my colors, and first I want like a rich chocolate brown, like that. Okay. The other brown's going to be almost black. Very dark, like that. There are my 2 browns. Click OK. And there's the gradient within my tree. Let's see, I want it like that, I think. Yeah. Okay, now I need to deselect it. Before I shrink my tree, I need to add some leaves to it. And I do want my leaves attached to the tree, so I'm not going to put them on a separate layer. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I want my leaves to be 2 different kinds of green. So to do that, I'm going to select 2 colors in my color picker, my foreground color and my background color. My foreground color is going to be a light green. My background color is going to be this dark green. Now I'm going to change the type of brush I'm using. So go to your brush selection, select the brush tool, then go to size and type, and I want this brush, which is kind of like a textured brush, and I want to increase the size, and I need to make sure the opacity is all the way up and the flow is all the way up, so you can actually see what I'm doing here. And already I can see that I want my green to be much darker. So I'm going to go back to this and make this a darker green. And I'm just clicking around the branches. I really didn't need to make more branches because they're going to get covered up by leaves anyway. I do want a couple of them to show. Like I said, these are going to be tiny trees on the edge of the landline in front of the mountains. So all of this is still on one layer. It's all my tree layer. So when I shrink this, it'll all be joined. I shouldn't have to merge any layers, which I haven't shown you how to do that yet. I also haven't showed you how to save your files yet, so I really need to do that. So as soon as I'm done with this tree, I'm going to show you how to save. I should have showed you that a long time ago. Okay, now I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, Scale, and I need to make this super tiny. So I'm going to hold Shift and shrink it from the corner. Little baby tree. Tiny, tiny. I'm going to move it over here. And then Alt move a billion times. So I would just keep doing that until I have as many trees as I want. Now remember I said that these are going to be covered with mist and haze. So I'm going to stop here, save, and then in the next video I will show you how to add the haze and the rocks in the foreground. So to save your work, go to File, Save as PSD. It's a Photoshop document. And it's automatically going to put it in your Downloads folder. Remember, I do want you to stay organized, so I'm going to minimize this so I can show you where you're going to put your files. So minimize. Open up the folder that has your name on it, Downloads, and find the file that's called Landscape PSD. Oh Lord, I have so many. Which one do I think it is? I have no idea. Probably this one. So I'm going to right click this and cut it. And then I'm going to right click and paste it in Photopea 3 folder. So as you can see, if you're not moving things into the Photopea folder, they're just going to stack up in your downloads. So occasionally you want to take your files and organize them by putting them in the Photopea folder. That's all I'm going to show you in this video. I'll see you in video 7 when I have finished my trees to show you the mist and rocks. Thanks for watching.